The reason you're exhausted has nothing to do with your job. It has nothing to do with your schedule, your relationships, or how much you sleep, or how much coffee you drink. The reason you're exhausted is because you're tired of playing small. And deep down, there's some part of you that already knows that. You're not tired of working hard. You're tired of working hard at something that was never really you. Stay with me here because what I'm about to share with you changed everything for me. And I think it's going to land somewhere real for you too. There's a word I want to offer you today. Alchemist. An alchemist is someone who transforms, someone who takes what is raw, unseen, invisible to everyone else and turns it into something real, something tangible, something that did not exist before they imagined it. And here's what I want you to hear. That's what you are. You're more than your job title. You're not an administrator, a hairstylist, a barber, a gym owner, a teacher, a real estate agent, or an insurance broker. Those are costumes. Just like Jesus wasn't just a carpenter. You're an alchemist who's been masquerading around as an employee. Now I say that with no judgment at all. I lived this. I wore those costumes for years, showed up, did the thing, checked the boxes, smiled when I was supposed to smile, performed the role, and the whole time, something inside of me was suffocating. Not because the work was wrong, not because those careers are not meaningful. Some of the most beautiful people I know wear those titles with full integrity. But for some of us, that costume never fit, and no amount of adjusting, no amount of promotions, raises, or titles ever made it feel like it belonged in our body because it was not our nature. It was an adaptation, and your soul knows the difference. That's why your dark night is not the end of you. I need you to hear that again. Your dark night is not the end of you. It's an invitation. It is life itself pulling the costume off, not gently, because it knows if it does it gently, you would just put the costume back on. So it pulls hard. It takes things. It collapses structures. It lets relationships end that you thought would last forever. It lets careers fall apart that you thought defined you. It takes your identity and it holds it over a fire until the parts that were never really you burn away. That's not punishment. That's initiation. The dark night is the moment the alchemist gets called forward. Because here's the thing about alchemy. Real alchemy is not comfortable. Transformation is not comfortable. You cannot turn lead into gold without heat. You cannot become who you were always meant to be without letting who you thought you were die first. And I know that sounds scary. I know that sounds extreme. But think about it. How long have you been trying to be okay with a life that does not feel like it's yours? How long have you been managing the discomfort of smallness instead of walking through the discomfort of expansion? One of those paths ends in quiet resentment. The other one ends in becoming. Okay, I want to take you back to something. Think about yourself as a child. Think about how many things you unknowingly alchemized before you even had a word for it. How many times did you ride that bike in your mind before it materialized in your life? How many times did you see that toy, feel it, imagine it, dream about it before it appeared under the Christmas tree or in your hands at the store? You are not doing anything complicated. You are not following a 12-step manifestation protocol. You are not doing breath work or journaling or running a visualization practice. You just believed completely, without doubt, without the weight of every past disappointment sitting on your chest. That is alchemy in its most natural form. And then something happened. Life started to teach you to doubt. People started teaching you to be realistic. Systems started shaping you into something useful, something productive, something that fits. And slowly, gradually, that natural creative power got buried under layers of fear, under the opinions of other people who buried their own. But here's what I need you to understand. It did not leave. Your capacity to alchemize never left. It just went underground. It went into the shadow. It became the restlessness you feel, the knowing that there's more, the ache that will not quietly go away. That ache is the alchemist knocking. Let me put it another way. Do you think the jets that fly us around the world just appeared out of nowhere? Do you think that someone woke up one morning and a fully engineered jet was sitting in their driveway? Of course not. Someone formed that image in their mind first. They held something that did not exist yet. They turned it over and over, refined it, believed in it, when everyone around them thought they were insane. And then they used something that I believe is the most underestimated force in human existence, the power of the heart. Not just willpower, not just intellect, not just strategy, the heart, the place where passion and courage and devotion live, the place that knows before the mind catches up. They used the fire in their chest to inspire themselves, which, by the way, the word inspire comes from the Latin word meaning to breathe life into, to move forward, to take action when every rational voice said stop. That is the alchemy sequence. Image in the mind, fire in the heart, movement in the world. And every single thing humanity has ever created followed that sequence. The art, the architecture, the music that makes you cry at 2 a.m. because it says something to you that you could never say. The business that changed industries, the movements that changed history. All of it started inside someone who looked ordinary on the outside, just like you. So what does it actually take to step into this? Here's the honest answer. You have to kill who you think you are. Not literally, and not in a dark way, but you have to be willing to let the identity you've been carrying, the one that says you are your job title, your income, your family's expectations of you, the version of yourself that learned to survive by staying small. You have to be willing to let that version of you die, because that version of you is not really you. It is a construction, a very sophisticated, very understandable, very human construction, but a construction nonetheless. And the dark night, the breakdown, the moment everything fell apart, that was not life attacking you. That was life doing you a favor, because it cracked the construction open. It let some light in. Carl Jung talked about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject, we buried, denied, because we were taught we were too much, too strange, too big, too soft, too powerful. The shadow often holds the gold. The very thing you were told to hide, to shrink, to manage, to be ashamed of, that might be the exact thing the world needs from you. That might be the door to open your alchemy. This is why the dark night is not a problem to be solved. It's a threshold to be crossed. And you cross it not by going back to who you were. You cross it by becoming who you were always meant to be. So this is where I want to leave you today. If you're exhausted, I want you to consider the possibility that your exhaustion is data. Not a weakness, not a failure, not proof that something is wrong. Just data. Your nervous system, your heart, your deeper self, they're telling you something. They're saying this is not it. There's more. You know there's more. And I want to ask you something, and I want you to sit with this today. What did you unknowingly alchemize as a child that you've been trained to stop believing as an adult? What image lives in your head that you've been too afraid, too practical, too exhausted to form into something real? What would you create? What would you become? What would you give to this world if you stopped performing the role and stepped into your actual nature? You're not too late. You're not too broken. And you're not too far gone. You are an alchemist in the middle of your initiation. And the dark night is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of the real one. If this landed for you today, I want you to do something, not subscribe, not follow, not buy anything. Just sit with the question I left with you. And if something stirs in you, if something moves, do not dismiss it. Do not explain it away. That is the alchemist waking up. I'll see you in the next one.